What's going on inside Carlo Ancelotti's mind? Brazil has already punched their ticket to the World Cup, but in the upcoming September FIFA window, they face two final qualifiers against Chile and Bolivia. Now here's the twist. These matches may be formalities, but Ancelotti's attacking plans are anything but predictable. With stars like Neymar and Vinicius Júnior returning, one shocking omission and some surprising inclusions have fans talking. So, how is Brazil shaping up its attack for these two games? Let's break it down, and trust me, you'll want to see who's in and who's out. As the September international break approaches, Brazil is gearing up to conclude their World Cup qualifying journey. Already qualified, the Seleção now prepares to face Chile and Bolivia, two matches that may not affect the standings, but will carry heavy weight for the future of the team under new leadership. Carlo Ancelotti, one of Europe's most respected managers, now in charge of Brazil, isn't taking these matches lightly. Instead, he sees them as the perfect testing ground. His primary focus? Building a ruthless attacking force for the World Cup stage. And for that, he's eyeing both consistency and potential. Let's start with the right wing. There's no debate here, Rafinha keeps his place. The Barcelona winger is in red-hot form and remains one of Ancelotti's most trusted options. His pace, work rate, and ability to stretch the play are crucial, and there's no logical reason to leave him out. In fact, his name is almost inked permanently on the team sheet at this point. Now, joining Rafinha on the flanks is the rising star Estevao Willian. After his standout performances in the Club World Cup, Ancelotti simply can't ignore him. Young, dynamic, and fearless Estevao has the tools to become a long-term asset for Brazil. His inclusion isn't just deserved, it's expected. Then comes one of the more curious names, Antony. Despite being called up previously, he wasn't used on the pitch. This time, the Manchester United winger is likely to get minutes, especially since these are lower-pressure games. Ancelotti may want to test his mental readiness, considering Antony's mixed form at club level. But here's the big shocker, no Rodrygo. Yes, you heard that right. Rodrygo, the Real Madrid man who once seemed untouchable, is likely to miss out. Why? Form and game time. Despite his talents, Rodrygo has played just 2 matches this season and hasn't made the impact expected. Ancelotti, who knows him well from Real Madrid, might be making a statement here. Play well, or you're out. Turning our focus to the left wing, we return to familiar faces. Vinicius Júnior is back, and there's no keeping him out of the squad. He's Brazil's current golden boy, electric, unpredictable, and always dangerous. Alongside him, Gabriel Martinelli continues to impress with Arsenal, and Ancelotti seems ready to keep this pairing intact. Together, they provide speed, flair, and goal-scoring threats from the left channel. But what about the center-forward position? This is where things get really interesting. Previously, Richarlison was given a chance, a player with heart, passion, and past glory in the yellow jersey. However, his recent performances have been underwhelming. Despite getting the nod last time, he failed to convince. The verdict? He's likely out. In his place, Joao Pedro is expected to step in, and not without good reason. After helping Chelsea win the Club World Cup and showing maturity beyond his years, Pedro is now the top contender for the number 9 role. Physical, clinical, and composed, he checks all the boxes for a modern center forward. And then there's Matheus Cunha, another name, who continues to stay in the conversation. While not always first choice, Cunha brings versatility. He can drop deep, press high, and operate in spaces that traditional strikers often ignore. Ancelotti seems to value this flexibility, especially in matches where tactical variations are key. So, summing up the attacking lineup. Right wing, Rafinha, Estevao Willian, and potentially Antony. Left wing, Vinicius Júnior and Gabriel Martinelli. Center forward, Joao Pedro, Matheus Cunha. And out of the picture, Rodrygo and Richarlison. But remember, even though these matches are technically just formalities, they serve a much bigger purpose. This is Ancelotti's lab, a testing ground where only the best will survive. He's watching body language, tactical discipline, fitness levels, and chemistry. Every minute on the pitch is a step closer to the final World Cup squad. And make no mistake, while names like Neymar are still assumed to be starters, their form and fitness will also be under the microscope. Ancelotti is not afraid to make bold decisions. His Real Madrid legacy proves that. The question is, how will these bold calls shape Brazil's attacking identity in 2026? Let's dive deeper into what these formality matches against Chile and Bolivia really mean for Brazil and Ancelotti. At first glance, they may seem meaningless. Brazil has already qualified. But for Ancelotti, they're anything but. These two games represent a rare opportunity. Real-time match conditions, zero qualification pressure, and maximum space for tactical experimentation. Ancelotti's tactical vision beyond just names. Carlo Ancelotti is not just selecting players based on fame. He's crafting a system of fluid, modern attack that blends the typical Brazilian flair with European structure and precision. That means players who are tactically intelligent, able to adapt quickly, and disciplined without the ball. For example, his inclusion of Joao Pedro over Richarlison sends a clear message. Richarlison may bring energy, but Joao Pedro brings positional intelligence, better link-up play, and a calmer presence in front of goal. It's about creating balance between unpredictability and tactical control. This is also why players like Estevao are being given chances early. Ancelotti is building for the long haul. He's scouting not just for 2026, but beyond. The likes of Antony and Cunha, though not always consistent, are being watched for specific roles, perhaps as high-pressing wingers or as substitutes who can break open games late on. Midfield, the engine of Ancelotti's Brazil. Although the focus of this window is largely on the attacking setup, the midfield structure is just as crucial. In his time at Real Madrid, Ancelotti thrived with a mix of creative playmakers and hard-working ball winners. Expect to see that philosophy reflect here. Players like Bruno Guimaraes and Joao Gomez are being evaluated for their ability to control tempo, recover possession quickly, and initiate attacks through progressive passes. Then there's the question of a deep-lying playmaker, someone who can play the Casemiro role. Whether Casemiro continues or someone like Andre from Fluminense steps in, the midfield has to offer both protection and build-up quality. Ancelotti also likes midfielders who can rotate fluidly, attacking when needed, but also smart enough to close space. So the players selected for these September matches will not only need to show skill, but also intelligence and adaptability. Defense steady but under review. Even though this squad focus is primarily on the attack, the defense is under quiet observation too. Brazil has had defensive inconsistencies in recent years, sometimes brilliant, other times vulnerable. For a coach like Ancelotti, who believes in solid foundations, that's an issue. Names like Eder Militao, Marquinhos, and Bremer are in contention. But expect Ancelotti to rotate and test younger options too. Especially against Bolivia, where the attacking threat might be lower, we might see experimental defensive pairings to test chemistry and resilience. In the fullback areas, where Brazil has often lacked stability, there may be new faces or tactical adjustments. Don't be surprised if Ancelotti asks one fullback to stay deep while the other joins the attack, a classic trick he's used at club level to maintain defensive balance while still allowing overlapping runs. What's at stake? Everything. While the scoreboard may not matter for qualification, these matches are auditions. Every touch, every run, every decision, they're all being noted. Because Ancelotti is not just coaching for now. He's visioning a squad for the World Cup 2026, where only the best both technically and mentally will survive. It's also about building chemistry. How does Vinicius link with Joao Pedro? Can Rafinha and Estevao interchange roles seamlessly? How do midfielders cope when the back line is under pressure? These are the questions Ancelotti is asking, and these matches are where the answers will be found. The Neymar factor. We haven't even mentioned Neymar, yet the iconic face of Brazilian football. Though not the focus of this window, his role in the future remains a hot topic. Will he be part of Ancelotti's long-term vision? That depends on his form, fitness, and willingness to adapt to a system where no one, not even Neymar, is above tactical discipline. Ancelotti is known for handling big stars without letting egos dictate strategy. So if Neymar returns in top form, he'll be central. But if younger stars outperform, Ancelotti might just make the boldest move of all, transition the team away from Neymar dependency. Final thoughts: a new Brazil in the making. So what can fans expect in the upcoming September games? Expect surprises. Expect experimentation. Expect energy. This isn't a typical Brazil team playing exhibition games. This is a blueprint being drawn anew, hybrid Brazil. One that dances with flair but thinks with logic. One that thrives on talent but is built on systems. With players like Joao Pedro and Estevao entering the scene, and veterans like Richarlison and Rodrygo being questioned, Ancelotti is sending one message loud and clear. No one's place is guaranteed. Only performance matters. And with the World Cup 2026 not far away, every match, even one that doesn't count, becomes a battle. A battle for identity, for inclusion, and ultimately for glory.